Alright, another video that we can never reach 1K views. Anyway, so you want to know the specific difference between these two naked bikes. Maybe you are a beginner rider or you are just interested in this kind of videos. Sit down, relax, and complain. For the years that are coming, competition is getting harder and harder for the manufacturers. But for us consumers, it has become beneficial in a way that we have more choices. So before we begin, let's have an introduction. So good day everyone, this is Frost and this is Cfmoto. First, thank you God for allowing this to happen, so let's get it on. This is just gonna be a quick review between these two bikes that are under the same or shared company, which is the Cfmoto and KTM. So they have been partnered since 2011. And I'll take this opportunity, if you want more reviews and detailed updates about motorcycle, just click on my channel for updates and latest news about this kind of topic. Firstly, the Cfmoto in the 400cc category released the NK400, but after several years, they finally discontinued it to give way to the NK450 or 450 NK. These two bikes that we're going to do a comparison are both in the same category, which is naked bikes. That's why this is so interesting, because both bikes are mostly identical. One has a single cylinder while the other has two cylinder with a 270-degree crank firing or crankshaft. But even though these two bikes share the same company's technology and knowledge, they are still two separated companies in terms of total outcome. Before I start, I both ride the older version of these two, which is the Duke 390 and the NK400. I know the NK are not technically the same with the latest version, but they have the same engine with the 450SR or 450SS that I had tested and reviewed, so perhaps I can tell you with a little confidence to which is more sufficient. But for now, we will just stick with the specification and the data that I had gathered, so maybe in the future we will be able to do a real comparison or a single review between these two. First, both bikes has LED in their lighting. Both aggressively good looking, both has good quality suspension, but for this one, the Duke 390 has a better early performance, and both bikes has the same weight, which is 165 kg. In the past, the Duke 390 has a weight of 149 kg, which is power to weight ratio is better. But for the newer version, even though it is 165 kg, it has more displacement and power output, and a newly engine from KTM, so later we will know why. So both bikes are actually very nice to choose from, because both bikes are worth it in their own preference. If you want good torque, a fun bike to ride, especially in the corners, and a fast bike from start to middle, good quality suspensions, features, and more sufficient in terms of maintenance, and a track-oriented but expensive, then go with a Duke 390. But on the other hand, if you want more power, especially in high speed, good aesthetic, two-cylinder, affordable, and good quality suspension, but not as good as the Duke 390. But if you hear the engine sound of the NK450, even though it has a stock exhaust, it still outshines everyone in that category. And most of us, beginner riders are not really into engine, brand. Some of us are really into aesthetic. So we may admit it or not, but most of us actually do buy the bikes that are more good looking. And also, the NK450 is much more cheaper in price compared with the Duke 390. Let's go first for the specs. First is the KTM Duke 390 2024, so they have still the same name. For this one, a lot of reviews right now are saying in terms of looks and minor details, they are still subject to change. But other than that, everything is final. First is the engine. In the old version, it has a 373cc, but for the 2024 version, it has a 398.7cc single cylinder with a newly released engine called the LC4C. It is the reason why it is a 398.7cc. KTM said it has more power, smoother acceleration, and lighter overall weight than before. It has a new gearbox with an optimized cylinder head and with an emission standard of 5 or Euro 5. Liquid cooled, it is still liquid cooled 4-stroke 4 valves, dual overhead cam, and a 6-speed transmission with a bore and stroke of 89 by 64 mm with a max power of 33 kW at 8,500 RPM. That provides you with a max torque of 39 Nm at 7,000 RPM. For the compression ratio, there are no data for it. Yes, as much as I can tell you, But if you know, please do comment it down. Thanks, it will help a lot of people, especially me. And for its frame, it is using a new design, a two-piece construction composed of an all-new steel trellis frame with a pressure die-cast aluminum subframe. It has better stability, and they changed the location of the rear suspension to offset it for better stability and improve agility and enhance feedback from the chassis. It is actually that KTM Duke 390 is now a monster, and it is fully loaded with tech and features. For an entry-level bike, this one is by the best full features in naked version, but also in terms of price, this one is by far one that is very expensive, because even though the Duke 390 old version is actually very expensive, so imagine all of these things that had changed, this unit or the newer Duke 390 will become more expensive. It has dual channel ABS, newly improved TFT display, multimedia controls, example, details on your bike, and phone connectivity, traction control, 3 riding modes, and imagine this one, and a launch control. As far as I know, I've been doing vlog almost 2 years. I can honestly tell you I never seen in the 400cc category is stuck with a launch control. And the thing that I love is it is using a ride-by-wire. Same with the old version, ride-by-wire is actually good for better fuel efficiency and responsiveness, with a cornering ABS and an optional quick shifter. Track mode, it changes the TFT display into a racing focus. So, like I said, the Duke 390 is now race-oriented or track-ready. So, this one is really advantageous compared with the NK450. With a new set of stock tires, Michelin's front tire size is 110 by 70 by 17, rear tire size is 150 by 60 by 17. And for its brake caliper size and rotors, front is 220mm single disc brake, and for the rear it is 240mm single disc brake. So in the front, they actually changed the location of the rotor. From left, they put it on the right. The purpose of that reasoning behind it is just, there's no actually technical reason for that, but just to give the Duke 390 more aesthetically good looking. And actually, they improved the rotor disc without any inner ring. They removed the inner part of the mags also, or hub, to reduce a total of 3.5 kg. For the suspension, it is actually newly improved. For the front, it is 43mm W apex fork with a 150mm travel that offers you with a compression and rebound settings. For the rear, like I said, it is offset with a W apex shock absorber 60mm of stroke that offers you with a rebound and preload adjustability with a 5-step clicker, same with the front. To tell you honestly, I am not a KTM lover, but I do love the Duke 1290R. So if given a chance, I do want to own one for one of the best naked bikes out there. The only problem here is the price point. The old KTM Duke 390 was already expensive, and now by creating a newly improved version with a lot of added features and tech, I can tell you that this one is so pricey in the sense of comparing it with the NK450 and other naked bikes out there. So I know, even though a lot of people will do agree with added features, but most of them will just choose the other brand because of the price. And I know they would choose the Cfmoto NK450 because it's already a 2-cylinder, and a lot of people as an ordinary rider does not need all of that tech and features that they have put in the Duke 390. And I know the NK450 will have a lot of sales because of its price and the technology that it brings. So that being said, the NK450 is the new version of the Cfmoto naked entry-level bike with a fully loaded features and tech for its price point. It has a 449.5cc 2-cylinder 270-degree crankshank or crank firing. Again, this is the highlight of this bike. So if you love this, if you love the MT-07 but you can afford it as your first bike, then this one is for you because it resembles an MT-07, but for me, I do find this more sharper in terms of its engine sound. It is still liquid-cooled 4-stroke 4 valves, dual overhead cam, and a 6-speed transmission with a bore and stroke of 72 by 55.2mm. That gives you a max power of 37 kW at 9,500 RPM. That provides you with a max torque of 39 Nm at 6,500 RPM. It has a compression ratio of 11:5:1. So again, the higher the compression is the better. And yet, we don't have any data for the Duke 390, but in terms of compression, it is either higher or almost the same with the NK450. It only means that the engine of the Duke 390 is really optimized to its full power. The same here with the NK450. And for its frame, it is using a steel tubular frame. I don't want to ruin anything, but as far as I know to tell you, tubular frame are much more inferior compared with the Terralis frame, but it is still okay. But if you are really into motorcycle details, then this will be a problem, because if you're really a meticulous rider, you want the best of the best. Even though the NK450 is much more cheaper compared with the Duke 390, it is still loaded for its value. Again, money for value. It has dual channel ABS, slipper clutch, 270-degree crank firing, traction control, phone connectivity, and a multimedia controls. Example of that, the same with the Duke 390, details on your bike, with still a TFT display. Actually, the things that they are offering are really good for its price point. That makes this bike a top seller motorcycle in the global market. And it is already using all LED light, same with the Duke 390, with a tire size of 110 by 70 by 17, rear tires 150 by 60 by 17. The same with the Duke 390. Stock tires is CST, with a rotor disc size of 320mm single disc brake, and for the rear it is 220mm single disc. And for the calipers of the NK450, it is J1, but this is owned by Brembo already, while the Duke 390 is still using the Vibri as their brake calipers. And for the suspension, it may not be as good as the KTM is offering, but for the price point of the Cfmoto NK450, it is really a-okay or worth it. For the front, it is KYB, and we know the KYB suspension are one of the best suspension in the world. 37mm that offers you with a non-adjustable suspension, sad to say. But again, considering the price, it is still valid. I want to highlight that again, because money for value, you should also consider that one. But still, worth it for an ordinary rider or beginner entry level. If you want more flexible, then you should go with a Duke 390 for more race or track-oriented bike. So again, these two bikes are actually identical. If you want more features, track-oriented, race track-oriented, full of features, want to experience all of the good stuff, and you have a lot of money for your entry-level, imagine this is only an entry-level bike, then go with a Duke 390. But if you, like I said, you are looking for an entry-level bike, it may not be the bike that would stay for you forever, because you're just looking for something, to train, to experience, and after that, you will just outgrow it. Then go with the NK450 if you don't have enough money, but still, the choices is on you. Bottom line here is these two bikes, no bias, no brand wars, just looking at the specs, both are worth it. If you're looking for fully loaded, like I said, good torque, good suspension, better ergonomics, and mostly you have a lot of cash, just like I said earlier, then go with the Duke 390. If you're a beginner rider and experienced, still trying to improve, I do encourage you that you buy the NK450 without any regrets, because you know what I mean. It's too much to explain. So at the end of the day, it is your choice to make. If you love this review, push the subscribe button, and if you want updates, push the notification bell. So if you want more reviews, detail to details, kindly check my channel for more of that. Thank you, God bless, and ride safe.